Returning to Hegel is important also because it provides us with a framework for understanding whether the human historical process can be expected to continue indefinitely or whether we have in fact reached the end of history. As a beginning point for this analysis, let us accept the Hegelian Marxist thesis that past history has proceeded dialectically or through a process of contradiction, leaving aside for the time being the question of whether the dialectic has an ideal or material basis. That is, a certain form of socio-political organization arises in some part of the world but contains an internal contradiction which over time leads to its own undermining and replacement by a different and more successful one. The problem of the end of history can be put in the following way. Are there any contradictions in our contemporary liberal social democratic order that would lead us to expect that the historical process will continue and produce a new higher order? We could recognize a contradiction if we saw a source of social discontent sufficiently radical to eventually cause the downfall of liberal democratic societies, the system, in the language of the 1960s, as a whole. It is not sufficient to point to problems in contemporary liberal democracies, even if they are serious ones like budget deficits, inflation, crime, or drugs. A problem does not become a contradiction unless it is so serious that it not only cannot be solved within the system, but corrodes the legitimacy of the system itself such that the later collapses under its own weight. For example, the steady impoverishment of the proletariat in capitalist societies was for Marx not just a problem but a contradiction because it would lead to a revolutionary situation that would bring down the entire structure of capitalist society and replace it with a different one. Conversely, we can argue that history has come to an end if the present form of social and political organization is completely satisfying to human beings in their most essential characteristics.